Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and I hope you've all had a really wonderful Christmas if you celebrate, or enjoyed the holiday if you don't. And I wanted to film a video, it may be a couple of videos, of my favourites for this past year. I want to make two apologies. First of all, this is either going to be quite a long video or more probably divided into several parts because I have difficulties uploading more than 10 minutes and you may have difficulties listening to more than 10 minutes. Secondly, can I apologise for the state of my nails? I normally make a big effort when I'm filming, given it's the only part of me that you see, to make sure that I've got my manicure done, but I've got a lot on today. I am having my nails done first thing tomorrow morning. I haven't even had time to take my rather ratty polish off after Christmas because I'm going away tomorrow. And I just wanted to get this filmed, otherwise it simply wouldn't get done before I go away. So apologies for that. So let's get stuck in. I have actually given a bit of thought to how to do this. I was going to do brands because you will find that a couple of the same brands feature again and again, or products in categories, which is kind of where I'm coming from, although it may be a bit looser than that. The second thing is I've got a lot, as you can see, and these really, really are favourites. That is, things that I've absolutely loved and used again and again. You can see there are quite a lot. But I regret to say there is only one drugstore brand amongst all these, and that's, you know, it may seem a bit snobby, a bit exclusive. The reality is I have bought drugstore brands and there just hasn't been anything apart from this one product that I've really rated this year. There are, on the other hand, a number of medium range items, but mostly, I'm afraid, high-end brands, and two brands in particular. It won't be difficult for you to guess which ones that I've loved. So let's dig in. I thought I'd start with face products. I haven't bought many foundations this year, which is unusual for me. I've been trying to use up what I've got. The only foundation that I bought and kept at all was the Chanel Perfection Lumiere Velvet, which I bought in the summer. And I've kept it in here. I wouldn't honestly say it was a favourite because the finish is too matte for me. I like a more luminous finish. But of its type, it's a really nice product. And I do like how dinky and convenient it is for taking away. So I thought about it and did put that in. A real favourite from Chanel this year was the CC cream, which I think came out last year, but I didn't get it till this year. I didn't get it till the summer. And then I wore it almost constantly in June, July, when we had a hot spell and I was travelling. I really, really liked how moisturising it felt. I felt like I was really treating my skin. It had an SPF of 30. So it was good coverage, sun protection coverage, even without an additional sunscreen. And it had a really dewy quality, and most importantly, it lasted really well all day. So you didn't have to worry about it when I was travelling. I really, really rate and recommend this cream. The caveat is, of course, it only comes in one shade as far as I know. So I think it adapts to a number of complexions, but not all. The other foundation that I liked, well, two, both kind of stick solid products. The Traceless foundation stick from Tom Ford I gave into this year. I actually have it in two shades because I'm slightly between. This one is Pale Dune. I've used it a lot and you can see that's it wound down. Hardly any impression at all. I actually tend to use it not all over my face but on the problem areas, which are for me the chin and around the nose area where I've got discoloration. I find it gives really excellent long lasting coverage, almost operating like a concealer but much longer lasting and better looking for me. And then in the end of November, December, I got this little palette from RCMA, which is the Research Council of Makeup Artists. I had to get this on a website. This was after watching a video and seeing it recommended. And these are, I mean, you can see they're minute variations. I got the palest palette, and they're a cream foundation. You do have to kind of blend them in, and I find they work best with a really moisturising base like Embryolisse cream. But they do melt into the skin when you work them. The interesting thing is these are the only foundations, and the same with the Tom Ford stick, where I would use my fingers at least to do the major work. Generally I like to use a foundation brush and find that gives the best finish with liquid foundations. But with these creams, I think the heat of the finger works really well to massage them into the skin to give a good poreless look. And so while we're on the topic of brushes, actually I tell a lie, because these are drugstore brushes. So I was very impressed this year with the Real Techniques brushes that I bought. Specifically, I bought this buffing brush, which I use for liquid foundations. I still marginally prefer the Shiseido one that I showed last year, but that's a lot more expensive, a lot harder to clean, and I really find this gives an excellent finish and very reasonable. You can buy them in Boots. I bought a whole load of the brushes, but two I found particularly useful. I think I showed this one earlier in the year. I use this one to buff in concealer. And I find even with a liquid concealer, it works really well. The other thing I use it for is if I'm powdering concealer around the eye area or around the nose area, this works really, really well. And then this brush has been a godsend. It looks quite stubby. It's an eye applicator. And I would recommend trying this if you have hooded eyes, as I do, because, of course, one of the techniques with hooded eyes is to take your transition actually above the socket line, because of the way the hood hides the socket line. When your eyes are open full on, means you won't see any transition if you use the normal socket line. But that's quite difficult to do, or I find it difficult to do. And I find this brush, because it's quite stubby, if I place by feeling in my socket line, the actual size of this brush takes the product to the right part of the socket to give a good makeup for hooded eyes. And if you want to use it more precisely, then you can just dip the edge rather than the whole of the top of the brush. So I do recommend giving that a try. I mean, obviously it depends on the extent of your hood, but I've found it really useful for eye makeup application this year. I will say one of my resolutions, I think, for next year is going to be to invest in some really good quality brushes, because I do think they can make a huge difference, and that's not something I've done recently. But for the time being, I do recommend those Real Technique brushes. The other drugstore product that I was thinking of is this concealer, the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser for Dark Circles, which I started using, I think, mid-year. I have used other products as well, but it's going really well. The only thing I don't like really is the sponge applicator, but I mean, it's okay. Really, really good product. Does work to help certainly minimise the dark circles. Goes on well, doesn't cake, easy to apply. Really, really nice product. Highly recommended. What else can I show you? Let's deal with some eye pencils. I still remain a fan of the Chanel waterproof Stylo Yeux for the waterline or eye pencils. I've bought a ton of them. I like them all, but I thought I'd show this one, which was the Christmas one in Blanc. Lovely and soft, which they're not always. I don't think you will be, oh, if I don't put it on camera, difficult to see that, but it's a great soft gold to put in the waterline. Still available from the holiday collection, recommend it. Once you put them on, they stay put till you remove. I also loved the Gucci iconic Ottagno pencil that I bought in this beautiful teal green. Just for the colour, really. I thought was so dramatic. They do wander a little bit, so they're not as good for me as the Chanel pencils, but I liked that. And because I'll be showing you a lot of Tom Ford that I love and praising to the hilt, I thought I'd show you one item that's been a disaster from Tom Ford, and that's their eyebrow pencil. What's it called? The Eyebrow Sculptor, which I really liked when I bought because of the shape, but I've had it, just doesn't work anymore. It's like, although it's a crayon, unless you really press down, it's completely dried out, and it was an expensive product, hardly used. Don't recommend, do not buy. Right, so that's part one, and we haven't done very well. Part two coming up.